You're listening to the SEO Mindset podcast. Now, we are not your typical how to do SEO podcast. No, we are not. With the help of our guests, we cover those all-important topics around career development, personal growth, and mental health for those working in the SEO industry. You got to be working on your own internal algorithm. Like what we did there. So if you like the sound of our podcast and you think this is a bit of me, shall we crack on with this week's episode? Well, hello there, and a very, very warm welcome to the SEO Mindset podcast, where your hosts are myself, Sarah McDowell, and the ever so fabulous Zen Queen, that is, of course, Tazmin Suleman, with episodes going out every single Thursday. This week, I am joined by Leah Hart to talk about all things ethical marketing. It is such a cracking episode. We talk about what is actually meant by that term. So what is ethical marketing? We also chat through examples of ethical marketing practices, what impact it has on society. So we talk about the impact marketing has on society and the importance of being ethical. And of course, every episode we give listeners practical strategies. So she leaves us with 3 things we can implement today after listening to become more ethical. I'm really excited for you to listen to this episode. A little bit about Leah before I do play it for you. She is a sustainability nerd and digital marketer with nearly a decade of experience in everything from social media management and email marketing to SEO and analytics. She thinks the best marketing strategies are holistic ones, and that this is the way we've always done it is the worst reason for doing anything ever. Outside of work, she's an avid hiker and bird watcher. She also enjoys traveling the world in search of the best vegan junk food. I am another fellow person, I've said it now. Basically, what I want to say is I love vegan junk food too. Now, just a quick ask. So if you enjoy what me and Tazmin are doing with the podcast, just a reminder of how you can support us. You can give us a one-off donation, and there's a link in the show notes to do that, because of course there is money involved in running a podcast, and also time, effort and resources. So we'd be much appreciative of anyone who can support us. Big shout out to anyone and everyone who has done that already. And a reminder to share our podcast with anyone and everyone. So the next time you're listening to a podcast and you think someone would really benefit from it, someone would really enjoy listening, find the link to that episode and ping them a message. All right, shall we learn how we can be better ethical marketers? Well, let's crack on with this week's episode. Very warm welcome to Leah.
Thank you. It's Leah, actually.
Oh, Leah, I am so sorry.
No problem.
I imagine that do most people see your name and just assume Leah?
Yes, it's spelled the exact same way. So you're definitely not the first person to make that mistake.
I do apologise.
Okay.
I normally do my due diligence, but when I saw the name, I was like 99% sure that's going to be Leah, so I'll just go with it. But it's Leah.
Leah.
Nice. Okay. Well, I do apologise, and I will make sure it's Leah throughout the rest of the episode.
No worries.
So, whereabouts in the world are you joining us from?
I am in Western Massachusetts in the beautiful Berkshires in the United States.
Lovely. And is it scorching outside at the moment? Has it gone a bit colder?
It's chilly. Well, actually, it looks like we're in the mid 70s right now, but it was very cold this morning when I woke up and went out. So we're getting into autumn here. It's great.
Summer has definitely vacated in the UK.
Yes.
It's gone. And I mean, it is good in a way because we haven't had a lot of rain. So things were looking a bit scorched. My little garden that I've got outside my house was looking a bit sorry for itself. Whereas I feel like in the past couple of days, it's really made up for it. And we have had a hell of a lot of rain. So
That's great. Yeah, we've been having a dry spell here too. I just went and did a mushroom foraging walk with a local organization, but there were no mushrooms because we haven't had any rain. So hopefully it comes this way next.
So, I mean, were you able to forage anything at all?
No, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. So, I mean, I'm just thinking, I've not done foraging myself, but for some sort of present, I can't remember if it was Christmas or a birthday or an anniversary, for my parents, I got them like a foraging where they went out foraging and then they cooked using what they foraged. So I was just imagining, was that the plan with your foraging? Like, were you meant to forage for mushrooms and then cook something up? Because I imagine if you didn't have the mushrooms, and then that's a bit awkward.
No, thankfully it was just kind of an educational, like, these are the mushrooms that grow around here and here's what you can do with them. But there weren't any. So we just ended up looking at pictures in books. But luckily there was no plan to cook them. Yeah.
You do have to be careful with the mushrooms though, don't you?
Yes. I stick to the very easy ones. The ones where it's like, there's no question. This is what it is. It's not going to kill you. Anything where it gets tricky, I'm like, that's for someone else.
Not worth the risk.
Not even. No.
I mean, as much as I'm enjoying this conversation, sadly, we're not here to talk about mushroom foraging. I mean, if you can kind of segue that into the topic, then that would be very impressive. But we are talking today about ethical marketing.
Yeah.
So, to start with the most simple, easy question, what is ethical marketing? What do we mean by that term?
So when I think about ethical marketing, I basically boil it down to the fact that the people that we are marketing to are human beings too, and they're worthy of respect and care. And I think that you can pack a whole lot more into ethical marketing, but that's what it boils down to for me. And that's what I was hoping to talk about today, is like really caring for the people that we're marketing to.
Yes, thinking human first is basically what we're saying.
Exactly.
So with that in mind, so if we're sort of saying, okay, ethical marketing, and in this example, we're talking about humans, so thinking human first, would you be able to sort of give some examples of practices where you can put humans first in your marketing?
Sure. So I think it comes down to, being honest and transparent and respectful of the people on the other side. I think the best way to illustrate this is maybe with an example of what I consider to be unethical marketing, which I see a lot in like the beauty industry, for example, where they create a problem with their marketing and then position their product as the solution to that. Like, for example, I get a lot of targeted ads for beauty products that are like, are the pores on your nose causing you to be insecure? And it's like, no, I hadn't really thought about the pores on my nose. But now I get all these products where it's like, this is how you clean them and shrink your pores. And it's like, this is not a problem I had before I started receiving these ads. So it's like creating this problem, making me feel bad about myself. Like, oh, there's this thing I should be insecure about. And now I should go and buy this expensive face serum to shrink my pores on my nose. Like, it's a very light example, but it's digging at people's insecurities in order to get them to buy something, rather than saying like, hey, here's a real problem that you might be having and here's a great solution to it.
And that is such a good point. And I have to admit, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the beauty industry, because if you look at the sheer amount of products in the beauty industry as well, of course, for them to be able to sell the products in the first place, of course, they have to come up with these problems. And like you say, sometimes you won't even be thinking about your pores, but after somebody has said, oh, are you worried about your pores? It then plants that seed in your brain, and you're then looking deeply with a microscope at your pory nose that you didn't even think was an issue in the first place.
Exactly. And I think that spans beyond the beauty industry, but I feel like the beauty industry is a really good example where probably a lot of your listeners are getting those same targeted ads where they're creating that problem and then trying to sell you something to fix it.
And I suppose, so that's a really great example of being honest and transparent. Another area where you can be honest and transparent is about what your product or service can actually do.
Yes.
Or and again, not to pick on the beauty industry here, and hopefully the beauty industry won't come after us. I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they won't. But what I mean there is, you know, when you see, let's say you see an advert on TV for mascara, and you see these eyelashes popping and they're like really vibrant in your face. Wow, they're the best lashes I've ever seen. And then you see in real small print somewhere on the screen, this model is wearing fake eyelashes.
Right. Yes.
So there's that area as well of like, okay, being open and transparent with what your product or service can achieve and not being deceitful. I have got another example of the food industry where I think it was something like ice cream. Whenever they did like a promo or a shoot wanting you to buy ice cream, they didn't actually use ice cream. They were using like shaving foam or something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a friend who is a commercial photographer and does a lot of food photography for different brands. And he was telling me they're almost never actually using the real food that they're selling. Like, for example, maple syrup that you would put on pancakes or something. They're using motor oil. And
really?
Yeah. So a lot of the times the photos that are depicting these yummy looking things that they're trying to sell you are not even of that product. Yeah, it's crazy. Mm-hmm.
And just as a caveat here, we're not saying to go out and eat motor oil
no,
right now,
do not
even if it looks tasty. I did also, going on a bit of a tangent here, but still important to say, I think, I learned a few months ago that sanitary products, so like sanitary towels, tampons, apparently there was a point where they'd never actually been tested on blood.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard about this. And I don't know whether this has changed. But
yes, I think there are some newer brands, unfortunately. This is a pretty new thing where they've actually started testing their capacity using blood. But yeah, it's been water. Yeah, it's...
Which now makes so much sense because I think every person who has used sanitary products, listened to this podcast, has had a leak issue.
Right.
And now this makes sense because they've never flipping used blood in the first place. They've used another substance. Yes.
We could spend the whole podcast talking about the unethical marketing of feminine hygiene products. I mean, that's, oh my gosh, the things that they put in those that are not disclosed. Yes. Yeah. I digress. I'll come back off of that soapbox.
Yes. Well, or you'll just have to come back because where my brain just went there was pink tax. Have you heard the term pink tax?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where they charge more for feminine products. Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's basically the same thing. They've just fluffed it up, made it pink, and been like, okay, you're a woman, so pay more for that. It blows my mind. Mm-hmm. So let's stay on track because I feel like we could go off into lots of wonderful roads, down lots of different roads. So when we're talking about examples of ethical marketing and we're talking about humans, so we've covered being honest and transparent. What other things come to mind?
I think taking a level of responsibility for the well-being of the people that you're marketing to. So for example, I'm trying to think of a good example product here, but if you know that your audience is college age students or like young adults, take into consideration that they might not have a lot of money, or that they might be putting things on credit, like not encouraging people to do things that are destructive to their well-being, even if you really want to sell their product. Working on building like trust and a relationship with your customers, where they know that what you're actually trying to sell is in their best interest and not just trying to squeeze every last drop of money out of them. I think there are a lot of products that are marketed to like low income people, for example, where it's like, sure, people have a responsibility to make decisions for themselves, and you don't have to kind of pander to your audience. You don't have to say like, oh, well, I'm not going to market this product because these people shouldn't be buying it. But just understanding, like, as marketers, we have a lot of tools in our toolkit to get people to do things that we want them to do and make them think it's a great idea. But if we try to keep in mind that they're real humans on the other side, they're real human beings who are consuming our marketing, who are buying our products, and just trying to keep their best interest in mind, and not just going for the money grab.
I've got something just come to mind when you talked about responsibility and thinking about who your customers are. Anytime that I try and unsubscribe from something, that is a right nightmare. You have to really pay attention because they're really clever in the different steps, and it's not every time I've tried to unsubscribe from something, it's never a straightforward, here is one button that you click and then you are unsubscribed. You're taken down this weird route of, and it's even how they word it, like, are you sure? Are you not sure that you want to leave this platform? Do you know what I mean? Or like, and then if you keep going, yes, I want to leave, yes, I want to leave, but are you sure? Do you want 50% off? Are you sure? Do you want a month free? So I think that kind of comes into that as well, doesn't it? Like, if someone wants to leave, let them leave. Don't trick them and use all this fancy stuff going on. Don't confuse your pet, because I have definitely been confused into staying as well when I thought that I've left.
Absolutely. Or some of these subscription products where it's like, yes, you can cancel, but you need to call. You can't cancel online. You need to call. And then there's a 30-day waiting period, where you need to call back again and confirm that you've thought about it and you actually do want to cancel, because if you don't call back and confirm, then we're going to continue your subscription. They make it so difficult. And that is disrespectful of the person on the other side. It's just, the golden rule, like, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like, is this the kind of relationship that you would want to have with a brand or a company that you're giving money to, that you're engaging with? Like, absolutely.
Yes, definitely. And you also talked about the importance of trust and relationship as well. And I think relationship, of course, that's important when we're talking about ethical and putting humans first, but also surely you're going to have a stronger business model and more loyal customers that are going to stick around if you work on your relationship and work on that trust and the mutual respect, I think, between the two parties.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's in the EEAT guidelines. Like, trust is right there. It's very important for it's a great business model, but it's also really important for your kind of brand visibility online and and the way that your brand is being promoted. Like garnering that trust, building that relationship with your clients is not only a great way to continue to sell to happy customers, but it's also a great way to respect the fact that your customers are human beings. So yeah.
It's a win-win situation, surely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so you've given us lots of examples. So we've talked about being honest and transparent, talked about responsibility. We've also covered trust and relationship. Is there anything else that comes to mind?
Oh, Sarah, there's so much. So to give you the laundry list, and then we can kind of pick what we want to talk about from there. You also want to keep in mind inclusivity, like not making people feel either stereotyped or completely excluded from your brand because of the type of person that they are. So trying to be inclusive, being respectful of people's data. I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying about being able to unsubscribe when you want to unsubscribe and actually letting them go. But not collecting more data about people than you actually need, providing straightforward ways for people to opt out. If someone says like, hey, I'm leaving this subscription, please delete my data, like you actually delete it. And then accessibility, like designing even like your ad campaigns so that they're inclusive for people with different abilities. Having your website be accessible, using alt text for images, just respecting all of the different kinds of people that could be engaging with your brand and making sure that you're not unnecessarily or intentionally leaving anybody out.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you're talking to everyone in society. And I suppose this is where it's really important to know your audience as well, because if you take the time to do the research, put a plan together and be like, okay, this is my audience, this is who I'm speaking to, I think that would help you as well. Make sure that you are being inclusive, and that accessibility isn't a nice to have, it's an essential. I even think there's laws against it now, isn't there?
Yes, there are. They're not being enforced necessarily yet, at least not here in the US. There are guidelines and regulations, but I guess it hasn't been litigated yet, so no one is actually being held to these standards that have been put in place. But yes, I agree with you. It's not a nice to have. It's not a like, oh, going above and beyond to make your site accessible. It's a must for sure.
Yeah, it's not. You're not going above and beyond. You're doing the bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
And I do understand that it might be like a headache, and some people might feel overwhelmed by it. But you've got to work it into your plan. You've got to do what you can, and making sure that images have got alt text for screen readers, that you've got, so when you're linking to other pages or anything that you're linking to, make sure that the anchor, is it the anchor text? Words have gone out my brain right now. But the anchor text is descriptive, so people know what to expect. You've got contrast, haven't you? So making sure that any text on any background is easily seen. I mean, there's a whole way of being, making sure that you're accessible. And these things, like you got to do it. You got to do it.
Right. Yep. Yeah, so it all goes back to just being respectful of the person on the other side, and not leaving anybody out because it's extra work for you, or because, oh, we don't really want to be talking to people who might be using screen readers anyway. It's like, well, that's crummy, like.
Yeah. Definitely crummy. Right, we are we need to take a short break, but there is one last thing where you were saying respectful of data, because I think what you've got to get out of the mindset of doing is whenever you present a customer or potential customer with a form, don't just think, this field will be nice to have, or this field or this data we're not using right now, but we might use it in the future. Get out of that way of thinking, because, be respectful of people's data. And actually, it's a good little sense check, isn't it? So whenever you're putting a form together and you're doing your different fields, being like, okay, do I actually need this? How are we going to use that data? Because then you've got to inform the customer as well how you're using their data as well. You've got to be respectful.
Right. And it's another win-win situation, because if you think about the conversion rate of a form, for example, more people are likely to complete the form if you have fewer fields. So if you're not just collecting data because it would be nice or you'd like to have it, if you really think about, okay, what do I need at this step to get the customer to the next conversion or whatever, you probably need a lot less information than you might think or that you would like to have. And you'll probably get more people filling out the form and completing that conversion anyway. So it's another win-win. It's respectful of people and it's good for your bottom line.
Exactly. Wonderful stuff. And I suppose that's what we're talking about at the end of the day. Everything that we've covered in the first half, yes, it's you being a good human and you're putting humans first and you're being respectful and you're being a lovely company and a lovely brand, but also it's going to help your bottom line at the same time.
For sure.
There we go. Right. Is there anything more on what we've spoke about so far? Anything else that you want to squeeze in before I take us to the break?
No, I think I'm good, but I'm excited for what we're talking about in the next half.
Yeah. Okay. Join us back for part 2. Sarah here, and I hope you don't mind if I quickly borrow you. Are you enjoying the podcast? Do you like what me and Tazmin are doing? If yes, why not support us? For the same price as a Starbucks, Costa, or your favourite local coffee shop coffee, you can give us a one-off tip or a monthly donation. If you fancy doing that, follow the link in the show notes. You can also follow us on social media. We're on LinkedIn and Instagram. Just search the SEO Mindset podcast and let us know how we're doing. Connect with us, chat to us, and also get more tips and advice. I'm so excited. The live podcast is back, folks. That's right. The SEO Mindset and Search with Canada podcasts are collaborating again. That means myself, Tazmin, and our dear friend Jack Chambers Ward are recording a podcast episode in front of a live audience the night before Brighton SEO. So that is Wednesday, the 22nd of October. We kick off at 7 o'clock and the title is Social Health is the Key to Career Success. So come along to discover how nurturing social connections and being intentional with your inner circle can help and elevate your professional career and journey. This is a free event. There is no cost to attend. And we'll also be throwing in free food, snacks, and drinks. The last couple of events have sold out and we ended up with a waiting list. Bonkers, I know. So if this sounds a bit of you, so if you're going to be attending Brighton SEO or you live in or around Brighton, so you don't have to be attending Brighton SEO conference to come along to our event. So if you're around and you fancy coming along, grab your tickets today before they all go. We'll pop a link in the show notes so you can do that. We very much look forward to seeing you all there on the night.
Hi, Tazmin here. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Be more visible, earn more, but also take care of your well-being and have work-life harmony? Well, I can help you because I'm offering you a free 30-minute consultancy call. Together, we can go through where you want to be and how to get there. Simply click on the link in the show notes, fill in a form, and I'll get back to you.
Welcome back for part 2. Leah, are you still with us?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. I mean, I am having a whale of a time. I feel like this is such an important conversation to have. So I'm very thankful and appreciative that you reached out, put yourself forward, and put this topic forward as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm a big fan, and it's really great to be here with you.
Wonderful. Okay, so before I blush, because whenever anyone says nice things about liking the podcast, being a fan, I'm like, I can't cope. But anyway, I digress. So in the first half, we've been talking about ethical marketing. And basically what we mean there is being respectful to humans, being respectful to the people who are buying the products or services. And we talked about examples of how we can be more ethical and be more human-centric. That's a good term to use, isn't it? So my next question is marketing on a whole. So we've touched upon why it's so important to be ethical for the people who are buying the products, but I want to talk more society on a more broader level. So what impact does marketing have on society?
So marketing can have a huge impact on society, and I think we've all seen this in action, whether or not it's totally clicked for us. But marketing has a huge capacity for shaping culture, like actually changing and shaping the way that people think about things. If you think about some of the recent gains in like body positivity, for example, that was all marketing. Like that change in the way that society thinks about how we talk and think about people's bodies and whether it's okay to judge people on the size of their body, that was all pushed forward through marketing. So it can really shape or challenge societal norms, which is a really cool thing, like as a marketer, to know like the work that I'm doing could actually change the world, could change the way that people think about things. Same thing, just awareness about different issues. Thinking about how marketing has driven a lot of environmental awareness for a lot of people. Seeing products that are being marketed as eco-friendly or whatever has kind of been the catalyst for a huge chunk of society to start thinking about, how are the products that I'm using impacting the environment? Like I never thought about whether my laundry detergent was good for the environment until I started seeing ones that were marketed as being eco-friendly. So it can really change the awareness of different issues. I'm thinking a lot about, there's a nonprofit here in the US, or there are probably several, but I'm thinking in particular of this one that works on protecting watersheds, like in the Western United States. And they have a huge marketing department that's just focused on getting people to be more aware of the issue. Like, oh yeah, those rivers that run through the parks where people graze cattle, like that's the water that ends up in your reservoir that you're drinking. Like, so marketing can have a huge impact on just awareness of issues in general. And I think, I think it can also, kind of following that same thread, it can help people on like a real human level, thinking about things like mental health. Again, like I think the awareness of like ADHD, adult ADHD, has been a big thing in marketing the last several years. And sure, part of that is to sell a product or get people to take an action. But also a lot of people's lives have been changed for the better because they're like, oh, maybe this is what's going on with me. Maybe there are things that I can do to help, strategies that I can take to live my life a little bit better. So I think marketing can have a huge positive impact on the world or a huge negative impact on the world, depending on where the effort is put.
Yeah, and who's behind the messages and who's behind the message that's being put out there, because that is marketing at the end of the day, isn't it? It's getting a certain message out to a certain group of people for them to perform an action, and that action could be lots of different things. And I really love how you started talking about the positive impact that ethical marketing can have, because you're right, it definitely helps people have those important conversations about mental health, about body positivity, about being aware of what's going on in the world right now, environmental issues, all of that stuff. And it's so lovely to see when brands and marketing departments or marketing teams are seeing, okay, we can do some positive here. We can impact change for the good, and it's wonderful. I suppose what isn't so wonderful is when you have people doing it the other end. So something that comes to mind was, when you were talking about environment, you have a lot of issues with companies greenwashing. Yeah. Would you like to talk about greenwashing? Because I'm aware of greenwashing, but some people might not have heard that term before.
Sure. So greenwashing, you see it a lot of times when a product is marketed kind of vaguely as being like eco-friendly or biodegradable, but there's no real information or claim about like why it actually is that. They just like make the packaging green and put some leaves on it and say it's eco-friendly, but there's not actually any information to back that up. Or maybe the product, kind of like you were saying at the top, like, does the product actually do what you're saying that it does? Like, is this actually an environmentally friendly product, or is that just the branding that you're putting on it and hoping that people don't ask too many questions? And so greenwashing, definitely, it is an issue. I was on another podcast recently, actually, talking about sustainable marketing. And I would really encourage people, anytime you see a brand making a claim, either about the environmental friendliness of a product or anything else, like, you have a supercomputer in your pocket. Just spend like a couple minutes, if you're not sure about the claim that they're making, like, do a little bit of Googling, and you can usually find out whether there's actually anything to that claim or whether it's just fraudulent marketing.
Yes, do your due diligence. And I would, as much as I love using a bit of AI and ChatGPT, and I know that that's another conversation, because is that sustainable to use? But also, don't just, because I know so many people who would go to ChatGPT or their LLM AI assistant of choice, right, and ask a question in there and take for granted the first thing that's coming back. Do your due diligence. But with the greenwashing, I got done by this once, because there was a brand that basically there was this beauty product, going back to the beauty industry. I'm never going to get a job in the beauty industry again, am I? No, I'm joking. But yeah, I was looking for this product, and I was looking at the different brands. And one of the reasons why I went for this particular brand was because the packaging looked like it was cardboard. But when I got it home and I used the product or whatever, and then I went to like, look, okay, how do I recycle this? I couldn't, because it wasn't recyclable. They made the packaging look like it was cardboard, or the cardboard-esque, I don't know what the right term is. And I felt completely done. I was like, Sarah, you've been greenwashed there.
Yes. Yep. That's a big one. And a lot of at least here in the US, some kinds of soft plastic are recyclable and others are not, or there's like, you need a special program to be able to recycle them. And so, yeah, they'll put this, like all these fancy claims about a product being environmentally friendly or whatever. And then it's packaged in like 3 layers of plastic that you can't recycle. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like maybe this canceled out, or like, was your packaging department not talking to your marketing department when you decided to make this claim about this product being environmentally friendly? Because these things don't go together. So
yeah. Not good, not good, not good. And also, I just want to touch on, so sustainable marketing. And I suppose all marketers can do their bit, because I'm just thinking, if you are putting on an event, or you've been tasked with sending some sort of promotional item out, or you've been put in charge of merch for some sort of campaign, everyone can do their bit and try and be sustainable with that as well.
Totally. I actually have a blog post on this topic. I'll share the link with you, Sarah. Even if you are not marketing a product or a service that is really like environmentally related in any way, there are always things that you can do to at least be mindful of the environmental impact of your marketing efforts. I mean, even things like certain assets on your website can make your website use more or less energy to navigate. Like if you're using huge images and GIFs and videos and things, like you're burning fossil fuels while people are using your website, because it takes energy to send those files, those packages to the user. So even if what you're marketing is not really environmentally related at all, there are things that you can do in your marketing process to make your actual marketing more environmentally friendly. So yeah, I'll share that blog post with you. That's a favorite of mine.
Yes, definitely. And people listening, if you want to check that blog post out, you know the drill by now. We pop everything in our show notes. So head on over to the show notes and there will be a link there. What other negative? So we've talked about greenwashing as like, is there any other, get my words out here, Sarah, what am I trying to ask you? Is there any other negative impacts on society that you've seen?
Yes. I think that a lot of people don't think about the fact that a lot of political messaging is marketing. Like if you boil marketing down to it's getting a message out there and trying to get someone to take an action, there are huge marketing teams behind your politician of choice, or not choice, your enemy politician. They have very high-powered marketing teams that are helping them get their messaging out and trying to get people to take the actions that they want to be on their side. And a lot of people don't realize that they're being marketed to. Again, we as marketers have a lot of kind of magic tricks in our bag, and we can have a lot of influence on the way that people think about things, or the things that people think are problems. And so I think there has been a lot of negative impact on society caused by some of the political messaging, the political marketing that's out there. And I won't get into specifics there because I might start crying, but think about the last thing that you heard that was political that upset you. Marketing brought that to you. Maybe not the meat of the story, but the fact that it landed on your newsfeed or whatever is a product of marketing. And I think that there's been a lot of negative impact on mental health, for example, because of political messaging. So
yes, you're so true. And this is a very important topic, but I feel like, we'll need a whole episode on that, because you got to be careful of what certain messages you're putting out there, because people are going to take that information and they're going to do actions with it. So yeah, it is so true. And it's not just political, but like marketing and media affects everything in life, all people, everyone in society. And yes, got to be careful here, because I'm also feeling a little about this topic. And I also have to remind myself that everyone's social media feeds are sort of customized to their sort of interest, hobbies, what they're looking at and stuff. Because I'm just going to say it, I'm a lefty woke person. And when I'm scrolling my social media, I sometimes think, wow, everyone's getting the same message. So why do we have these certain issues that we have in society? But then you remember, no, people have different views. People are seeing different things that you are, Sarah. Not everyone is being given left woke messages across. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So
absolutely. Yes. The beauty of the algorithm, it can, what is it they say about a brick? You can use it to build a bridge or sink a dead body. You can do the same thing with messaging and marketing. So just like we were talking about with greenwashing, for example,
yes,
one of the most powerful tools in marketing is when you can make someone feel something. And so anytime you get a message that makes you feel something, and maybe you don't understand it, or you're like, I'm feeling outraged or sad about this, but I don't have all the, this is just a little Instagram ad. It doesn't have all the facts and information. Anytime you're receiving a message that is designed to make you feel something, let that be a prompt that maybe you should go and find more information. Whether that's a good feeling, like, oh, if I buy this laundry detergent, I'm being environmentally friendly. I don't know why, but it's making me feel good about myself. Anytime you receive a marketing message that makes you feel something, I'd encourage people to let that be a prompt to find out some more information about it, because
yes,
it's applicable whether we're talking about laundry detergent or political candidates.
You're so true. So true. Yeah. There's a reason why you're feeling a certain way. So definitely explore that. And something that we talk about on the SEO Mindset podcast all the time is self-awareness. And yeah, it's a big thing. And while we're talking about messaging and what certain people see and what certain people believe, or what they've been trained to believe, let's not go too much down that rabbit hole. But I think what's important to say as well is, remember, content, articles, anything that you're publishing and you're putting out into the world, and it goes back to your responsibility here. So whenever you're putting together research, or you want to talk about something that's important in society because it relates to your business, your product, your services, your audience, just make sure that you are doing your due diligence, you're doing your research, and you're not spreading misinformation. I mean, misinformation is another big topic, isn't it?
Yes, that could be a whole episode on its own. Yeah,
we just need a mini series where you just come back and we just do an episode a day.
I'm here for it, Sarah.
And we'll sort the world out, Leah. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Put it on my calendar. I'm here for it.
Right, so we are desperately running out of time, but do you know what? We're going over because this is an important conversation, and I think we've covered so much. But we always try and give our listeners practical strategies, practical things that they can implement straight away. So I realize that we've talked a lot of different things, but if there is a listener thinking, yeah, sign me up, I'm going to be more ethical, I want to be more human-centric, I want to be more responsible, I want to do the right thing, I want to be more honest, transparent, all of that lovely stuff, can you give 3 things that listeners can do after listening to this episode.
Yes, I can. And I'll try to keep them concise here. So the first thing that you can do is audit your marketing messaging. Kind of like you were just talking about, Sarah, being careful not to spread misinformation. And it's very easy to do in today's world where I think we're all using AI a little bit to help with some of our content crafting. It's really important to do your due diligence and make sure that the claims that you're making, the things that you're saying are true. Make sure that the things that you're saying are honest, transparent, and inclusive. So just kind of look at your marketing messaging through that critical lens before you put it out into the world. So that's number 1, audit your messaging. The second thing you can do is to prioritize consent and privacy. Make sure that you have clear policies in place and that you're sticking to them about, you know, what information you're collecting about your customers or your audience. And then explain that to them in a clear and easy to understand way and make it easy for them to say no thank you. So decide what information you actually need and how you're going to use it. Communicate that clearly to your audience in your privacy policy or in the fine print or wherever it makes sense. But use plain language. Don't use like weird legalese, or don't try to be confusing so people agree to something that they might not otherwise. Explain things clearly and make it really easy for people to say no thank you. It's like a breakup in a relationship. Do you really want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you? You might think you do in the moment, but you don't. Like if your customers aren't okay with your data use policy or don't want to receive your emails or whatever, just let them go. Like there will be people who are okay with it and who will be a better fit for you. So let those people who aren't okay with it for whatever reason, just let them go. So that's number 2, prioritize consent and privacy. And the third thing would be to choose your partners wisely. If you think about like, okay, what are my ethical standards for my brand, for my company? Think about the people that you work with, the subcontractors or the freelancers or the other companies that you work with to help achieve your goals. Think about, their ethical stances on things. And realize that the people that you work with are also a reflection of you. So if you're really great about your data privacy, for example, but you're partnering with a company that's not and has some kind of shady data practices, then that's a reflection of you too. So choose your partners and suppliers wisely would be number 3.
Wonderful. And they don't seem too hard or overwhelming to implement.
I don't think so. I really think that it just takes a little bit of critical thinking and remembering that we're all working with other human beings. Even if I think in today's world where we're all remote and we're looking at our computer screens all day and not actually sitting with other humans, it can be hard to keep in mind, like, oh, there are actually human beings on the other side of all of this. And so I think just kind of building that reminder into your workflow and having a little bit of critical thinking can go a long way.
And I think that, that is a good reminder that, because I think it's really easy to take the human out and you're just thinking of numbers or you're just thinking of your audience or your persona. Actually, there are people with lives, and the messaging that you're putting out there is going to have an impact on them. They have their own money worries. They have their own goals, what they want to achieve in life. And it's so important to, before like going live on a campaign or agreeing to something new or a partnership, just always think about who is that human that's going to receive this at the end of the day? Who is it going to touch? Who is it going to impact? And I think it will do us all good to have that as a reminder. Nice. Okay, so I'm very sorry to say this, but we are nearly at the end. I've got to squeeze in 2 more questions, but I could chat to you about this topic till the cows come home. I don't know where that saying comes from. I don't know. Is that a US saying? Do you say
I think so. Yeah, that's a cowboy saying. Yeah.
Oh, till the cows come home. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. I don't have to do any lassoing of any cows this evening. You can tell I'm not a cowboy. I don't know what I'm talking about. Cow person, cow woman. I mean, I'm going on a weird tangent. Stop it, Sarah. Right. Someone awesome to follow in the industry and why?
Yeah, so I have been really enjoying following Ross Simmons on LinkedIn in particular. I think he is like my aspirational digital marketing competitor right now. Like, I am not on the same level as Ross, but I have been loving everything that he's been putting out recently. He does great informational videos. He explains things really clearly. I just love following him. He's not necessarily like perfectly related to ethical marketing. I don't think that's like a big focus for him in particular, but I love following him. Every time a new post of his pops up in my feed, I'm happy about it. And so that's why I decided to share him with you today. I think he's great.
Lovely. I'll make sure that Ross is in the show notes. And my final question for you is best career advice.
Yes. So I think this is super generalizable, not just for your career, but definitely applicable to your career. Lead with curiosity and empathy. Anytime where you're put in a situation where there's frustration or judgment or uncertainty, go into that with your first step being curiosity. Ask questions, be open to feedback, and remember that you're dealing with people. So if you're having a disagreement with a coworker or you're having conflicts with a client, ask questions. You can almost always solve a problem if you can get on the same page with someone. And so I think being curious, it's a great quality to have in digital marketing because it's always changing and there are always new things to learn. But I also think that for moving forward in your career, if you can lead with curiosity and empathy, you can't go wrong.
I love that. I'm going to make sure that I implement that going forward. That is a good reminder and a good yes, because empathy, curiosity, you're going to fix problems or get on the same page. I love that. I very much agree. Well, that is time. We are finished, unfortunately. But before I wrap things up, where can people continue the conversation with you? Where are you? Is there anything that you'd like to promote? This is your moment.
Sure. Yeah. The best place to connect with me is LinkedIn. I've been really leaning heavily into LinkedIn recently. I've been loving it. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to chat with you. I'd love to follow your posts. Coming up this October, the 7th, I am so proud that I'm going to be a speaker at the Women in Tech Summit in Philadelphia. And last I checked, there are still tickets available. So if you're in the US or you feel like making a trip to Philadelphia, I would love to see you all in the audience at the Women in Tech Summit. I'll be talking about using Reddit for human-centric content creation. So kind of following this thread through here, I would love to see you in the audience there.
Wonderful, wonderful. I am so jealous that you're, the Women in Tech Fest. I mean, the Women in Tech community is a wonderful community to be part of. So if you're not part of that community, make sure that you do that. And also, all of their events are wonderful, wonderful. So I'm quite jealous that you get to go to one and you're a speaker as well. That's fabulous. So all good stuff.
I'm so excited. I'll have to go to London next year. Can hang out with you there, Sarah.
I mean, please do. Please do. Wonderful stuff. Right. And the only thing left for me to say is if you do enjoy the podcast and what me and Tazmin are doing, reminder that you can give us a one-off donation. So there are costs involved in running a podcast. So if you fancy donating and supporting us, which will cost you less than a cup of coffee from your favourite coffee shop, then please do that. We'd be very appreciative. Link in the show notes to do that. Big shout out to everyone who has done that already, and make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast as well. So in the show notes there'll be a link to do that, but if you subscribe you'll get notified whenever there's a new episode. And while you're there, I've got to ask, haven't I? Give us a 5-star review. Cheeky 5-star review. Why wouldn't you? But yes, lovely stuff. Right, that is it. That's a wrap. So it's goodbye from me, and
goodbye from me too. Thank you.
Wonderful. Enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time you're listening to this.